The Exagoge 67 through 90 depicts Moses' dream in which he sees an enthroned celestial figure who vacates his heavenly seat and handles to the son of Amram his royal attributes. The placement of Moses on the great throne in the Exagoge account and his donning of the royal regalia have often been interpreted by scholars as the prophet's occupation of the seat of the deity. The deity is a god on earth, a god in human form, right? Or whatever, right? Exactly. Pieter van der Horst remarks that in the Exagoge, Moses became an anthropomorphic hypostasis of God himself, which is what basically Akhenaten did become. Akhenaten did become that. He exalted himself and he aligned himself with Aten, the sun disk, which was pretty much above all the other gods. So, the uniqueness of the motif of gods vacating the throne and transferring the occupancy to someone else has long puzzled scholarship. An attempt to deal with this enigma by bringing in the imagery of the vice-regent does not, in my judgment, completely solve the problem. The vice-regents in Jewish tradition, for example, Metatron, do not normally occupy God's throne, but instead have their own glorious chair that sometimes serves as a replica of the divine seat. It seems that the enigmatic identification of the prophet with the divine form can best be explained, not through the concept of a vice-regent, but through the notion of the heavenly twin or counterpart. In view of the aforementioned traditions about the heavenly twins of Enoch and Jacob, it is possible that the Exagoge of Ezekiel, the Tridarian, could also attest to the idea of the heavenly counterpart of the seer when it identifies Moses with a glorious anthropomorphic extent. As we recall, the text depicts Moses' vision of a nobleman with a crown and a large scepter in the left hand. The left hand was the power in Egypt. All of the male pharaohs had their tombs to the left, except for King Tut, and that was a fake burial tomb. Okay, there you go. So he's wielding the scepter in his left hand, which Akhenaten does, correct? Because it's a symbol of power. And he also has the crown, right? The crown of Egypt, the crown of the ruler of Egypt. Are you getting this? Do you understand this? Are you waking up? In the course of the seer's initiation, the attributes of this nobleman, including the royal crown and scepter, are transferred to Moses. Get it? Moses, Akhenaten, who is instructed to sit on the throne formerly occupied by the nobleman, who was the previous pharaoh. The narrative thus clearly identifies the visionary with his heavenly counterpart, in the course of which the seer literally takes the place and the attributes of his upper identity. Moses' enthronement is reminiscent of Jacob's story, whose heavenly identity is depicted as being engraved or enthroned on the divine seat. The divine seat was occupied by who? The Pharaoh. The account also underlines that Moses acquired his vision in a dream by reporting that he awoke from his sleep in fear. Here, just as in the Jacob tradition, while the seer is sleeping on earth, his counterpart is in the upper realm, identified with the Kavod.